Hey Hun, are you looking to make a change in your life? Make some extra income? Be a boss babe? Be a mom boss? Well, watch to the end, subscribe, take some of the supplements that I'm selling, and you too could change your life. Welcome to Casey's Cabinet of Curiosities. I'm Casey, and on this channel we talk about art, literature, history, religion, and anything else that makes me curious. So this week, multi-level marketing made me curious. The mysterious world of boss babes, lady bosses, and pyramids had my full attention all week. I actually just finished listening to an audiobook for like the third time. Hey Hun, Sales, Sisterhood, Supremacy, and the Other Lies Behind Multi-Level Marketing by Emily Lynn Paulson. So I've read it, like I said, a few times before, but I wanted to go through it, review it for this channel, and kind of use it as a roadmap to talk about MLMs. There are anti-MLM creators all over YouTube. Hello, Hannah Alonso, I love you. And I would also like to boldly come out as staunchly anti-MLM. Now, we will get deeper into what an MLM is as we go through this video, but just in case you've never heard of multi-level marketing or you aren't exactly sure what it is, I want to give you a frame of reference, okay? So some examples of MLMs are Mary Kay, Avon, Amway, Modere, Monate, Melaleuca, aka the Shop Club or the Wellness Company, Young Living, doTERRA, and the list goes on and on and on and on. If you've ever seen a Facebook post like this, or like this, or like this, and you've thought, this seems interesting, but something in my gut feels off, that's an MLM, babe. So I was actually a personal assistant for a Mary Kay rep back in the day for like 2 weeks. So that's my qualification for this video, and of course I will get a little deeper into that story later. A few housekeeping things. Firstly, once again, hi, hello to all new and returning viewers. If you like what you're watching, hit that little subscribe button. It's at 38 right now, and I prefer odd numbers. So my 39th subscriber is going to get a massive recruitment bonus and also a free pink Cadillac. You don't want to miss that. But in all seriousness, thank you all for being here. I honestly didn't know if I'd still be doing this a month later because I didn't know if anybody would be watching, and people are actually watching. Like 68 people on my last video, which is so cool to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoy it. And let me go ahead and say this though. On my last video, there were a few people who weren't super happy because, I'm sorry, let me check my notes, because I called Woody Allen a predator. There were a few people writing really hard for Woody Allen, and it was weird. So let's not do that again. If you really, really, really love MLMs, that is great. I'm so happy for you. No one is forcing you to stop. I'm not mad at you. Don't get mad at me, okay? Do not be this guy right here. Nobody wants to be this guy. I love a good debate, and I'm not opposed to being wrong. But let's keep it friendly, alright? Alright. The house has been kept. Now, first of all, in case you were curious, this is the dog that I just grabbed. His name is Root Beer, and he's acting like he's dead. I don't know why. Well, he wants a belly rub. He's fine, but isn't he cute? He's a puppy. I just got him. He's cute. I know. Okay, so grab your coffee. I have got Black Rifle, 300 milligrams of caffeine in the flavor Rich Mocha. I also have some water because it's 2:30 p.m. and it's time to stop drinking coffee. Grab whatever you're doing while you listen to this. I'm still on dishcloths right now because I've got a farmer's market coming up for my little LLC, so I'm gonna sell, you know, eggs, knit stuff, baked goods, all that fun stuff. But I'm making these little hand-knit scrubbies. I hate that that's the name, but that's what they are. They like scrub dishes, scrub counters, whatever. And this is the last dishcloth that I finished. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but it's pretty. Is that the right side? I don't know. Anyway, I haven't blocked it yet, but that's what I'm doing if you're curious. So let's get started on this journey because we've got a long way to travel today. So, Hey Hun was published in May of 2023. It's Emily Lynn Paulson's second autobiographical book, and it details the time that she spent, almost a decade, in an MLM. So the first thing right off the bat to get out of the way is that she calls this MLM rejuvenate. She says the reason that she does this is not to protect the MLM that she was in, but because she wants to drive the point home that it's not, she doesn't want people saying, oh, well, that MLM was a bad egg, but the rest are good. The point that she wants to drive home is that all MLMs are predatory. And so that's why she just doesn't use a specific name. Because of that, and also for convenience, I'm going to say rejuvenate throughout this video when describing the MLM that she was in. However, sorry, it was bothering me, but inquiring minds want to know, and it is public information. So if you were curious, the MLM that she was in was Rodan and Fields. Again, Hannah Alonso has good videos on them if you want to know more about that MLM specifically. Interesting note though, if you're anything like me, you had terrible fucking acne as an adolescent. Well, actually, if you're anything like me, your acne didn't go away until you were in your early 20s, and you nuked it with Accutane, and now you have to keep Aquaphor on you 24/7 still, 5 years later. And yeah, so fellow Accutane baddies, you know what I'm talking about. Check in. How's your Aquaphor usage looking? Just curious. How long has it been, and how much Aquaphor are you using? Anyway, so if your story is like mine, then you have absolutely been exposed to Proactive. I have tried Proactive. Did it work for me? No. The only thing that I really remember about it is the way that the toner burned the ever-loving hell out of my skin. But again, nothing worked for me except for Accutane, so maybe that was just my skin problem. Neither here nor there though. If you were conscious around the 2000s and the 2010s, you have seen a Proactive commercial.
Hey guys, Justin Bieber here. There are some things that just come with being a teenager. Your feet grow like crazy, I can't stop that. The hormones kick in, I don't want to stop that. And then there's zits, I can't stop that. That's why I use Proactive, because there's no way I'm going to let a bunch of zits get in my way.
The interesting thing about that is that Rodan and Fields was actually created by the same people who created Proactive. So, just a fun fact, I think. Anyways, the first 2 chapters are about how Emily got recruited into Rejuvenate. So, to set the stage, Emily is an upper middle class woman with an advanced chemistry degree and a background in chemistry. She's married to a man named Kale, which again, I have got this on audiobook, and so I just assumed that it wasn't spelled K-A-L-E like the vegetable, but it is. So that's a choice that his parents made. But you know what? My name is Casey Love, so let me shut up because I can't say anything, okay? I can't say anything about weird-ass names. It's not his fault. He's named after a superfood. So Emily and Kale have 5, count them, 5 kids, and not like 3 18-year-olds and 2 kids under 5. Like, they're all like kids. And they have adopted sort of traditional gender roles, and so Kale works and brings home the bacon while Emily takes care of the domestic labor. So she's watching the kids, making the meals, keeping the home clean, etc. Now, according to many different sources, including this one from the College of Medicine of Tucson, invisible labor is a term used to describe the unseen tasks and responsibilities involved in managing a household and family. It's generally defined as tasks that aren't traditionally recognized as work, but require significant time, energy, and emotional investment. The invisible labor is often unnoticed, and because it doesn't come with a paycheck, there can be little recognition or appreciation of the endless work completed. Much of this labor falls on women, and this imbalance, sense of invisibility, and increased stress take a toll on women's mental health. So essentially, Emily's life at this point is revolving around washing out baby bottles and changing dirty diapers. And she knows that she has a comfortable, again, upper middle class life, but she craves purpose and companionship, as do many of the women in her situation. She's feeling lonely and underappreciated. And then she gets a message from an old high school acquaintance, whom she doesn't remember if she's ever actually spoken to in high school or not. But this friend is named Becky, and she's going to be in town for work, and she wants to go out to a dinner and to wine with Emily. Emily, of course, jumps at this opportunity for companionship. So she gets to the dinner and has this to say. The first thing I notice is the product lineup on the table. There are some supplements, shakes, beauty products, and pamphlets with pictures of business kits on them. I quickly realize that each of the ladies here have guests with them who've apparently been invited to learn about the business. So she quickly starts to understand that Becky didn't really want to catch up over wine. She wants to make a sales pitch. She tells herself that she'll stick around for the wine, but she's not falling for that scheme, okay? She's resolute in that. But, if you are an MLM consultant, your entire job is to be convincing. And these ladies were. So after drinking a good bit of wine and hearing the praises of these products from other women at the table, Emily starts to get interested. Becky tells her that she can buy the products if she wants to, or she can become a consultant. This means that she can sell the products and make some money. Or if she doesn't want to do that, that's fine too. She can be a consultant anyway and get a 50% discount on the products. Okay, cool. So Emily signs up because that's harmless, 50% discount, and maybe you sell with some family and friends because why not? So she buys the starter kit, and she talks about paying a pretty hefty price for the starter kit. Now this is something that's consistent with MLMs, okay? They target people who are looking for extra income, and then they make you pay exorbitant amounts of money for the starter kits. Some starter kits include brochures, instructional booklets, things like that, and maybe some samples. These are going to cost in the $50 to $80 range. But you can't sell that with no products. So in order to get enough inventory to sell for any MLM, you can pay anywhere from $100 for places like Mary Kay up to $900 for Rodan and Fields, or if you really want to go big or go home, you can pay $5,000 for a box of leggings from LuLaRoe. I mean, is that a good business investment or what? Now, I know that if you aren't business-minded, these concepts can kind of get muddled, so I'm going to try my best to lay out what the business model looks like as we go along. So, as it stands right now, Emily is getting her own products at a 50% discount. But let's say that she buys a starter kit and decides to sell $500 worth of product. Why not? Most MLMs will give you about a 50% commission on your sales. So she's spent $500, and if she sells all of that, she has the potential to make a $250 profit. If you're keeping up, you're probably saying by now, hey, that's not how that works, and that's not a profit. She spent more than she made, which means that she lost money. Gold star, correct. Good job, proud of you. So, next question. If someone did want to make this a side hustle, and they did want to make money, how would they do that? Alex, what is recruiting? Correct, recruiting. So here's how the MLM business model works. Here's a little diagram. Now, the percentages and the logistics are going to vary by MLM, but the structure will be the same. Notice it's a pyramid. Whatever. So the way to make money in an MLM is to recruit other people. Let's say I'm an MLM consultant who buys $500 worth of product. I sell all of it. I've made $250 off of that, right? Made. I've recovered $250. But let's say that 3 of the people that I sold to also want to become consultants. Well, I recruit them, and because they're on my team and I recruited them, they're now what's called my downline. So I'm up here and they're a level below me. Now I make a commission off of their sales too. So if each of them sells $500 in product along with my sales, I will get my 50%, and then let's say 5% of their sales, which Mary Kay I think starts at 3%, and you can get lower or higher, but 5% is a pretty reasonable starting point for for 2 levels in your downline. So let's say you're getting 5% of their commission. So you've made $250 from selling, and you've made $75 from them. Now, let's say that between those 3 people, they recruit 20 people. Now, those 20 people are the 3rd step in my downline, because there was me, and I recruited 3 people, and those 3 people recruited 20 people. So now I'm getting commission from those 20 people too. And because I have 3 levels instead of 2, I'm probably getting a bigger portion by now. So let's say 20%, or 10%, I'm sorry, let's say 10%. Now, my day job is in accounting, so obviously I made a spreadsheet for this. If you're a dweeb like me, enjoy. So I've spent $500, okay? That's how much I spent for my product kit, which means I am $500 in the hole. Now, I sold all $500 worth of product and made 50% of that. So now I'm $250 in the hole, okay? I've recruited 3 people who have also sold $500. I made $75 because I get 5% of their commission. That means that I'm now $175 in the hole. So then they recruited 20 people who sold, again, $500 each. I get 10% of their commission, so that's $1,000. So now I've turned over a profit of $825. The more people that I recruit, and the more people that they recruit, and the more people that they recruit, the more money I make. Because the bigger that my downline gets, the more money I make off of their commissions. Now, key takeaways. Number 1, you will never turn over a profit from selling for an MLM. You are going to make half of what you spent selling for an MLM. If you want to make money, you have to recruit so that you are getting a cut of the money that other people spent. Number 2, making money in an MLM is complicated and confusing. That is on purpose. And number 3, even with 23 people in my downline and a total of $12,000 in sales between us, I've only made $825, which sounds like a good number at face value, but consider the amount of time that it took to recruit those people. Did I have to throw parties? Did I have to spend hours on Zoom? How did I recruit these people? Also, keep in mind, I'm only making $800 if these people are able to sell $500 in product. If they only sell $200, that $800 number drops significantly, right? So that's how the MLM business model works. All right, hello. It is 4 days later. I got stupid busy, and then I got sick. But now we're back, and I'm happy to be back. One quick thing, my hair always looks kind of crazy, but I just blow dried it and haven't done anything else to it. So it's gonna look all kinds of crazy today. What can you do? Let's get the car back on the road. Where we left off, we were talking about exactly how the MLM business model works. So now let's get back into our story. Emily leaves the dinner a little boozed up and not quite ready to go home. So she calls up her friend Vanessa and invites her out for a drink. They drink together and Emily starts to talk about this new thing that she joined. And she shows the products, just casually talking with this friend. And she does mention the extra income possibility. Vanessa, who is presently going through a divorce and could really use this extra income, is interested. So of course, she signs up too. Once again, products at a discount, some side money, a community of women, and these 2 best friends get to work together, which is a win-win situation, right? So at the end of the night, Emily goes home and goes to bed, feeling okay about what she signed up for, even though it came with a pretty hefty price tag. The next morning, though, she wakes up full of buyer's regret. She gets up, makes breakfast for her kids, and then checks Facebook. To her surprise, she's been tagged in a bunch of posts and gained a bunch of new followers. Upon closer inspection, she finds that her new business has been outed. Her upline already posted about it, and now she's getting a bunch of friend requests and comments from a bunch of other people that are involved with Rejuvenate. And she's a little freaked out that her business got announced because she hasn't even had the chance to tell her husband yet that she paid this much money. But she rationalizes it and she moves on because it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So then we move to chapter 3, which is called The Lady Bosses. And Emily in chapter 3 is preparing to go on her first trip with her MLM. Now, back to the Facebook posts that I mentioned earlier. If you see any posts from someone in an MLM, oftentimes you'll see them post about how grateful they are for a job that spoils them, sending them on trips, buying them gifts, etc., etc. Here's an example of one right here. So when discussing these trips that MLM companies, did I just knock my coffee over? No. When discussing these trips that MLM companies will send you on, Emily says, through the distorted lens of social media, team retreats and other MLM trips seem like they're all expenses paid. But this isn't exactly true. Generally, retreats are planned by someone's or several someone's upline. This person then reserves a big house, cabin, or block of rooms. Consultants pay their own way. There are usually ways to reduce the cost, all tied to a list of activities that increase your upline's paycheck. Sell more, recruit more, join more power hour Zoom calls. In any case, they are not free. She isn't aware of this at the time of going on her first Rejuvenate trip though, and she's super excited to trade in her daily routine for a weekend of being a boss babe and being in a community of other women reaping the rewards of her hard work. She packs up, boards the plane, and receives the agenda for the weekend. She says, I immediately noticed that the retreat is the very opposite of retreating. Not only is there no time for relaxing, but there's a full lineup of trainings, outings, a Zoom call with the top earner, and several other personal development activities like goal setting and time management. Though I worry that I've traded my already sleepless schedule for a sleepless weekend, I figure it makes sense. Later, I learned that the faster you spin people, the less capable they become of asking, why all the spin? She then elaborates on the Zoom call with the top earner, saying, the Zoom call with $1 million earner is a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. When you join an MLM, you're told that your team will be there to help you anytime. But then you have to qualify to talk to them. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, I chalk it up to personal development. The Rejuvenate reps get to the retreat and spend their first night getting settled in. Emily spends her night getting really drunk, and this is important to the book because along with talking about her experience in MLMs, she talks a lot about her experience as a recovering alcoholic, right? I don't bring it up a lot in the video just because this is a video specifically about MLMs, and I don't want to derail us too far and drag it on too long because it's already going to be long. But I do want to mention it at least in passing because it's a really inspiring aspect of the book, and her sobriety journey is very powerful. So you should also, if that's something you're interested in, this book would be good for you too, definitely. And I'll mention again later, but she has another book called Highlight Reel that speaks more specifically about that aspect of her life as well. So, quick side note, but day 2 begins Emily wakes up hungover, and day 2 begins with breakfast and then the coveted Zoom call with the top earner, Kimberly. After some dialogue with the other ladies, I raise my hand. What do you do when someone asks how much you make? Don't talk about that, Kimberly responds flatly. It's in poor taste. But won't people want stats to back up the Facebook posts? So we can post about how our business has blessed us, but we can't advertise the actual dollar amount? Kimberly glares at me. It's against policy and procedures. Fine, but what can I actually say about how much we make? People wonder because we say shit like, This is the best job I've ever had. But at the same time, when you take a job, you usually find out the salary. Silence. Oh shit, Vanessa whispers behind me. You've angered the queen. Finally, Kimberly breaks the silence with a psychotic smile and glassy eyes. What you can do, she says in an unnaturally high pitch, is talk about what the money is allowing you to do, as long as you reference the IDS. But do not link it, just mention it. So, another quick detour, fork in the road, take a right. We're going to take one quick look about what an IDS is. So IDS stands for Income Disclosure Statement. According to a 2024 staff report from the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, some MLMs prepare documents containing data regarding the payments received by participants in the MLM. These documents are commonly referred to as income disclosure statements. Often, the income disclosure statement is a standalone document between 1 to 3 pages long, and many include tables that list dollar amounts or dollar ranges for different groups or cohorts of MLM participants. The disclosure statements usually feature some amount of text in addition to the table, with some information conveyed in small or fine print. Some MLMs make these documents available to prospective participants and/or the public. For example, sometimes the MLM publishes the income disclosure statement on its website. So here's an example of an income disclosure statement, and this is coming from the FTC briefing on it. You'll see that there's a table showing how much you have the potential to make as you progress through the levels of the MLM. So it's kind of hard for me to see on my side, but you get the triple diamond rank, the double diamond rank, the diamond rank, platinum, gold, silver, so on and so forth, and it's telling you how much money you can make in those ranks. And it's got pretty good numbers. Those numbers are kind of nice. But notice at the bottom in super tiny print, it says, calculations are based on 2020 weekly commissions data. Average paid rank is rounded to the nearest rank and is used to account for weekly rank vacation. Redacted establishes this calculation from individual associate paid rank data and only includes periods with earned commissions. Weekly incomes are multiplied by 4.33 to arrive at monthly incomes. This is not a guarantee of a particular income. Individual results may vary. Vary. I'm sorry, I misspoke because I was so stuck on the multiplied by 4.33%. So what that means is that you could throw a selling party one week and make $500 in revenue, not taking into account how much you spent on the party because the IDS isn't taking that into account, but you've sold $500 in that one week, that one party that you threw, and then you could completely forget about the MLM for 3 weeks, and according to this MLM's income disclosure statement, your monthly income would be $2,165 because they multiplied that 500 by 4.33. Am I reading? That's how I took that. And that's wild. Are you guys interpreting that differently? Because that's how, it's based on a weekly income and then multiplied. So it's not accurate, really, is the only way to put it. That's such a weird way to spin numbers. But either way, basically an IDS is a way for MLMs to say, hey, don't get mad at us if you don't get rich. We told you that it wasn't guaranteed. It's on our website, don't sue. Chapter 4 is called That Time of the Month, and it begins like this. It's Halloween evening, and I'm walking around with my kids trick-or-treating. My phone is in one hand, and I have a coffee mug filled with wine in the other. My youngest is already passed out in the baby backpack, and I'm hoping the rest get worn out with their fill of candy so I can get back home and to work. In addition to drinking far too much, my usual remedy for anxiety and escape, I'm also doing my usual month-end push. It really sucks that Halloween is at month's end, and New Year's Eve. Christmas and Thanksgiving are pretty close too. Holidays take on a new meaning during month-end madness. Every month ends the same way. We rush to fill month-end quotas, spamming our friends, families, and network to sell product or recruit new reps, and purchase massive amounts of products to meet minimum sales numbers, keep our titles, and earn incentives. Titles and paychecks are based on the sales and structure of any given month, and all titles start over monthly. Yes, every single month. Even the tippity top of the pyramid leaders start at 0 on the first. Even though when you're at the top, most of your sales are made up of the people under you. So while you still have to make sure those sales happen, as long as your team makes their numbers, you retain your spot at the top. Many of these sales are made last minute, many times through deep discounts, flash sales, bulk purchases, and sometimes, gasp, fraudulent orders. Emily details wishing she could be at home working on month end instead of being out with the kids. Finally, though, the kids have their fill of candy and so they head home. I walk up the steps to my house. Kale is handing out candy and, oh no, bringing in boxes. Shit. I know what these are. Orders from the last incentive trip I earned. I was so close to making my own numbers for that trip. I just needed to place some orders under my team in order to get them to rank up. These boxes were supposed to show up during the week. Damn that 2-day shipping. Daddy! Our little monsters reach up for Kale with sticky fingers. Hey kids. He quickly turns to me, a stern look on his face. Why are there so many Rejuvenate boxes? Front loading, or inventory loading, is the practice of buying a ton of stock so that customers can purchase directly from you, supposedly. The reason it's done in many instances is to make ranks and titles because you are financially rewarded for doing so. Distributors order items to qualify for something, not because they need it for sales. It's a huge benefit to the company and uplines. They earn commission on sales, so while the policies and procedures might discourage this type of behavior, it is never discouraged by my uplines. I think for a minute. I could fib and say they are all incentives, gifts, but he knows. There are too many of them. I need to come clean. Okay, you know that trip to Hawaii I earned for us? Picture yourself on a beach, Kale. Hannah needed some help making her numbers last month. I wouldn't have earned the trip without her. You know how new she is. But shouldn't she be the one placing the orders? How much did you spend? What are you going to do with all this product? All valid questions. Luckily, my uplines have prepared me for this line of questioning. We have scripts for spouses too, to help compartmentalize insider versus outsider information. Kale, this is my business, and buying product is the rent on my business. I can sell what I don't use. I can use all this stuff for gifts, stocking stuffers, giveaways. He interrupts. Yeah, spend money to make money. But seriously, how many people are you giving Christmas gifts to? This is too much, Emmy. We don't need all this shit. Nobody needs all this shit. How much are you really making if you're buying all this? And then chapter 5 is called All Dollars and No Cents. This chapter opens with Emily planning to meet Becky, who is the one who recruited her, at the airport for their layover. At this point, she's been in Rejuvenate for probably about 6 months, so she's started to, climb the ranks. She's very successful too. That's something that needs to be noted. She is doing really well in Rejuvenate, and she is starting to get quite a big downline / pyramid under her. So she is planning to meet Becky at the airport for their layover. The Rejuvenate babes are headed to convention, and convention is a big part of any multi-level marketing company. She says, this one is the boss babe trip of all boss babe trips. Say boss babe 10 times fast. Convention. It's the ultimate test of MLM success. No matter what MLM you are in, convention is the annual gathering of lady bosses. To celebrate, receive personal development, and renew excitement and passion for the company. Leaders show up. Be there or be square. The FOMO is strong, and so is the guilt tripping if you abstain. Conventions are not cheap for consultants. They typically cost a few $100 to $1,000 for a ticket, and that does not include hotels, meals, airfare, and any product purchases. But the culture of constant education and personal development makes these conventions profitable for the company and popular with the consultants. I had already spent weeks, months actually, preparing outfits for what was supposed to be a fun and enjoyable trip. And the outfits were important because we were going to be taking lots of staged photos. This will be my first convention. So while Becky and Emily are having a drink at the bar, Becky starts to grill Emily about the way she's running her business. The other thing though, I noticed at month end that you were up posting after midnight. You have to get an assistant. You're getting up there. She takes a swig of her beer. You can't be fiddling around with all the busy work, doing all your own swag bags and social media posts. First, how long is this shit taking you? Second, how do you think that looks to your team? Do you think they're going to want to be fiddling around with all that stuff? Get an auto-posting program or someone to help you with social media. You're just the face of the business, so talk the talk and walk the walk. And so then Becky starts telling Emily that she needs to hire a personal assistant to do all of that busy work for her so Emily can focus on the sales and the recruiting. Now, when I listened to this, I said, wait a minute, roll the tapes back, hold on, trigger moment, okay? And I promised you a story time, so here it is. Picture me, I'm 26 now, picture me fresh out of college with an art degree. What the hell do you do with an art degree? Why did I do that? But anyway, my neighbor told me about this lady that she just started working with to sell Mary Kay. And apparently this lady was also looking for an assistant. So I took my happy ass to meet her for coffee, and I got the job immediately, obviously, which consisted of me basically just like organizing things. I would make her swag bags for her, and then I would deliver her products like locally for her. It was $8 an hour, but it was like maybe an hour a day. And then, maybe. And then I also got paid for mileage, but it was like 25 cents an hour, which was well below what you're legally supposed to be paid. And I didn't know the difference. Like that, I had not experienced that before. And I just wanted some money. And she was a nice lady or whatever. Top two memories. One time I was delivering some Mary Kay to someone, and they had pet ducks, and their ducks attacked me. So that was scary. I was in her house a few times, and she did literally have a shrine to Mary Kay Ash in her house. It was like a whole wall of like photos and quotes and books, and it was just Mary Kay Ash. What the hell? So that was weird. But like I said, she was a cool lady. I don't really know anything about her though, except for Mary Kay, because that's all she ever talked about. I was only there for like 2 or 3 weeks though, because then I got an actual job as a receptionist, which then led to getting an accounting job with the same company, and now that's kind of just what I do. So I left that for my actual career, and she was very understanding of that. So kind of an uneventful story, but still a fun one. That being said, now that I think back to it, there were definitely some conversations we had. She was like, oh, have you ever considered being a salesperson? Or, oh, like, you would probably be good at sales. Or, oh, you're so pretty, like, you could, you know. So she was definitely trying to recruit me, for sure. So I'm glad that I got out when I did, because at that time I probably would have fallen for it, because she was very convincing, and, like, she was like, I paid for this house. And, I mean, I was in the house. So now I'm assuming now that that's not the case, because her husband has a job too. I'm assuming that she's probably making revenue but not profit. Also, after I left, she would text me a lot with like her promos or whatever, and then I didn't hear from her for like 4 years, and she's just now started cold messaging me again. So I'm thinking she's probably like on the downhill of it. Like she's probably starting to struggle, and I feel bad about that. That doesn't make me feel good for her. But yeah, anyway, fun story. That's the time that I worked for an MLM, but I never sold or recruited. I just delivered and put swag bags together. But anyway, the story's not about me. Back to Emily. She knows that she can't do everything by herself forever, but again, an assistant costs money, and she's already been spending so much. She reminds herself again that you have to spend money to make money, and that all of her business costs will eventually make up for themselves. So she's pontificating on that, and then it becomes time to board the plane, and Emily takes her seat next to Vanessa, and they grab 2 Grey Goose sodas for the flight. Once they get to convention, they get ready to go to their first seminar. The speaker of this seminar talks about how to succeed in the business and employs the typical tools to get consultants excited, get the energy in the room pumping. And Emily says that she's pretty on board with the seminar, no big issues. And then he ends with, quote, "I am a believer. I believe in Rejuvenate. I believe that you've all been put in this arena for a reason, to something bigger than just yourself. This business is the vehicle to do that, to do whatever you want. This is your assignment from the Lord." And she says that this makes her very uncomfortable. She says that she has no problem with religion, but that is not the place for it. Manipulating people into selling your product like that is questionable. But the intersection between religion and MLMs is a strong one. Christianity, more specifically. So this is a diagram from Patheos that shows the similarities between the 2 groups. Now, this is sort of a snarky diagram. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it does a good job of laying out the overlap between the 2. So, again, the things that they have in common, they both are and this is evangelical Christianity more specifically. But they are always supposed to be closing, so you're either closing a sale or you're closing a sale for a soul to God, right? Miraculous testimonies, vilification of apostates, so you're either with us or you're against us. All or nothing worldview, again, you're with us. This is right or it's not. This is the only right way, the rest of the world is bad. Overt references to Jesus, young living. Really, really, very much. Strangely low expectations. I guess that means for the way that they're treated, which is true. Both MLMs and evangelical Christians aren't treated super well. Emphasis on recruitment, fixation on wealth, prosperity gospel, dishonesty, and then of course there are some tongue-in-cheek ones here too. But again, especially with evangelical Christians, that's a high control group. Not all Christians. I'm not saying that about all Christians. I have no problem with Christianity. If you could see my books, you'll see that I have a lot of religious books back here. And my first video was on Genesis. That being said, evangelical Christianity is prone to become a high control group. And MLMs are also a high control group. And so people that are vulnerable to one are oftentimes going to be vulnerable to the other. And also, if you're already included in this one, if you're already included in the evangelical group, and the MLM corporations know that, then they're going to use this to hook you and say, oh, we have that in common, and that human instinct for community and sameness and groupthink is going to just get stronger. Does that make sense? So you're going to see a lot of times religious manipulation in a lot of MLMs. Some people actually jokingly say that MLM, kind of like how people say Ford stands for Found on Road Dead, if you've ever heard that. But people also jokingly say MLM stands for Mormons Losing Money because of the over-representation of specifically Utah and Mormon women in MLMs. Even, what's that bitch's name? The best one. Christine from Sister Wives? No, Christine and Mary. They're both, I think Mary did LuLaRoe, and then Christine, I don't know. I think they're all in MLMs. But anyway, Young Living specifically, again, is very bold about their evangelical stance. I believe that one was founded by 2 Mormon men. I'm not sure. Anyway, the second day of convention, Emily meets Serena in an elevator. So Serena is somewhere horizontal to Emily on the Rejuvenate team, which means that neither of them makes money off of the other. And this is refreshing for both of them, so they become fast friends. And on this day, they're in the elevator on the way to do a stage walk, which is where they both walk the stage for recognition because they've hit this high rank. Again, something you'll see photos posted on MLM-Hun's Facebooks a lot. They also have, MLMs have a tradition of unveiling their new products during convention. And this tradition continues here with Rejuvenate. So Emily Lynn Paulson has this to say. The curtain parts and the product is unveiled. There it is, the new hair serum. It's greeted with thunderous applause and a smattering of confetti. It's like an upper crust gender reveal on steroids. Finally, the price is announced. Hurry, get your convention special package with 5 serums and a free carrying bag. Only available here and for only $695. Every year at convention, there's a new product that's touted as a game changer. I wonder how long this hyped up hair serum will be around. Long enough to make the company some money before it moves on to the next thing. And then she talks about how this product has just been unveiled and then people rush to go buy it, okay? This product has just been unveiled and these reps have just bought it for the first time. But then she says, before and after pics are already being posted, probably from the ladies who had advance access. These are the same people that have been touting the benefits of our products from day one, and now this has suddenly changed their hair? Smoke and mirrors. But I oblige and dig out the crappiest picture of my hair I can find, so I can make my own before and after. Okay, so what she's saying is that these people who either had access like a week before maybe, or they just bought this product for the first time, have dug out some random picture of their hair, and then they've dug out a good picture of their hair and said that it was this product's doing that their hair looks so good. Even though they've been saying that about every other hair serum that this company has come out with, right? Like, they can't all be life-changing, and you can't all, like, why do you have a bad before picture if you've been using these products for 5 years? Your hair should be good all the time. Why do you need another serum if all of the other products are good, right? So, smoke and mirrors, like she says. So she also says, I need to make sure everyone on the team is doing the same and prepping their wallets for this product. I take to my team Facebook page. The new product is here, ladies. For those of you who didn't make the investment in convention, you'll have to wait until next week, but make a plan to invest in yourself and in your business. In the meantime, here's your homework for the week. Number 1, post an inspirational quote or photo. Number 2, take your before photo. Number 3, add 10 Facebook friends. Number 4, send 5 messages. Number 5, post a product photo and a lifestyle photo. Number 6, do 1 hour of personal development reading. You've got this, ladies. Remember, this is more than a business. This is a vehicle of change for whatever you want in your life. You were given this opportunity for a reason. No shame in passing along some inspiration. I consider adding from God, but I can't go there. See, so that kind of tells you too, like, it made her uncomfortable just a few hours before, but she's almost willing to do the same thing to get to her goal, right? And so this kind of brings up the discussion of, like, people, I always think about people in high control groups, so cults and MLMs, like, some people can be both victims and perpetrators, right? Like, I always think about Nexium, like Allison Mack was a victim at first, but then she became a perpetrator, right? Same thing here, like, Emily Lynn Paulson was a victim of this MLM, But here, she's also acting as a perpetrator. So just an interesting dichotomy there. So chapter 6 is called Licking Things to Claim Them as Your Own. Okay, Ariana Grande. Emily is in the doctor's office waiting on results from her routine appointment. While she waits, she's scrolling on Facebook and she sees that a locally famous hairstylist that she follows has posted asking for information about Rejuvenate. Emily's jaw drops, and she immediately starts to think about what she wants to say in her message to this hairstylist, Madison, to stand out from the other reps that are going to be biting at her ankles. This is a big deal, again, because Madison has such a large following and would get such a large downline, so whoever recruits Madison is going to be rolling in cash. She decides to think through that later, and then she says, "In the meantime, I decide it's a perfect opportunity to showcase that I can work from anywhere," and lean back to take a selfie when the doctor walks in. Awkward. "Hi, sorry to keep you waiting," she stammers. She looks serious. "No worries, I was just catching up on a little work." Here we go. Never pass up an opportunity to show the opportunity. She doesn't waste any time before telling me, "Unfortunately, I have some bad news, Emily. Your results came back and they show malignancy." So again, Emily just went in for a routine pap smear, but when she came back for her follow-up, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And she was told that a simple surgery would be all that it would take to remove the cancer, so no extra treatment, no chemo, no radiation, no radical hysterectomy, just a tumor removal. But simple surgery or not, cancer is still really scary, right? And so days after she talks to her family and her oncologist that she was referred to, Emily calls Becky to deliver the bad news. Becky tries to put a positive spin on things to make Emily feel better, and Emily appreciates this until Becky says, "Plus, think about the downtime. I mean, you're just sitting there, right? You can still message and make phone calls. This could be really good for your business." "What? How so?" "Remember last year when that one lady's husband died? What was her name? Jessa? Lives in Louisiana?" "I vaguely remember. I don't know Jessa, but everyone in Rejuvenate sent their love and posted about her." "I mean, her business blew up after," Becky continues. "So many people purchased out of sympathy, and not just from her. Tons of people in the company were able to capitalize on it." Sympathy? Capitalize? Yikes, it feels a little exploitative maybe. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. But Becky hasn't led me astray yet, and I do remember how much love and support surrounded Jessa. It couldn't hurt, right? My wheels start turning. Maybe I could do some sort of fundraiser? Actually, I offer, noticing a header on some of my paperwork, January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. What if I donate a portion of every sale to cancer research or something? Genius, Becky squeals. I'll throw in some donations too. Obviously, it's an added bonus for her since she gets a cut of all those sales anyway. She's no dummy. If you look around Facebook before, during, or after any holiday, national disaster, pandemic, social injustice, you're guaranteed to see it. An MLM promo or party that benefits a charity or nonprofit with a percentage of commission or cash donation that is attached to a product sale. Buy my essential oil and I'll donate $20 to victims of the hurricane. A few weeks later, Emily reaches out to Madison and she actually ends up being able to recruit her to her team. Again, this is big for her because Madison is a local celebrity, and that's exactly the type of person that you want in your downline because they have such a big network that they can recruit, and as they grow their downline and rise in the ranks, you, as their upline, are going to bring home a paycheck from it, right? Emily actually mentions that during her time in Rejuvenate, a super famous celebrity joined and obviously rose in the ranks expeditiously. So whoever that person's upline was rolling in it. And again, inquiring minds want to know. I did try to look this up. I didn't look it up extensively, but I'm not super sure who she's talking about. So the actress Jenna Boyd from Atypical, apparently, I don't know, I've never seen it. Apparently she's affiliated with Rodan and Fields. Also Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' mom, is like in it. It's weird to me for a celebrity to be in an MLM because like MLMs recruit vulnerable people who need an extra income. What the hell does Lynn Spears need more money from? Like, does she not have enough? I don't know. That's weird to me. But like, I just wonder how they recruit celebrities like that to be in MLMs because they're not pulling the same, oh, do you need a side hustle thing? Because they don't. Her side hustle is Britney Spears. Like, why would you? I don't know. It's weird to me. Emily, though, she actually starts, going back to the story, more tangents. Emily actually starts to get irritated by Madison pretty quickly because she's a phenomenal recruiter, but she's super high maintenance. Constant texts, phone calls, needs, and expectations. She starts talking then about the different dynamics between MLM reps. While it always looks like amicable girl time on social media, there are people who actually hate everyone on their team. On my Hawaii trip, other reps shared terrible stories of their uplines pressuring them to do things like produce events they didn't want to host, shaming them by canceling hotel reservations at their retreats to let them know they were no longer welcome, and even pressuring them to pray more or attend church. The stories I heard constantly made me feel gratitude for Becky and solidified the belief that I treated my own downline pretty well. Also in this chapter, Emily is on another business trip with Rejuvenate. She spends the morning at a company-paid-for wine tasting and then spends the afternoon and evening drinking more and more while they're at dinner. So according to her, a lot of these MLM meetings are just really boozy. Rodan and Fields apparently encourages you to drink, to lower your inhibitions. I don't know about the other ones. I don't know if the more overtly religious ones, again, like Young Living or Mary Kay, I don't know if they're gonna encourage you to drink like that, but it's definitely possible that they'll offer alcohol to kind of lower your inhibitions and open your wallet a little bit, right? So Emily wakes up the next morning and realizes that she blacked out the night before. She lays there and tries to put the pieces together, and then she checks her phone. Which every time in this book that she checks her phone, it's always bad. She needs to learn to put her phone up, seriously. She has got to stop checking her phone the first thing when she wakes up. She sees that Kimberly has tagged her in photos, and then she goes to Facebook. She is horrified by what she sees, because the pictures that Kimberly has posted are pictures of Emily taking shots, smoking cigarettes, which she doesn't smoke, but when you're drunk sometimes, I get it, but somewhere she found a cigarette, that's my fucking girl, and even sitting on the lap of the VP of sales. Honestly, I tried to find these pictures, I could not find them, but I would love to see them, because that's cool as fuck, I love that. But for her, they're very embarrassing, because they're not super professional, right? She is dumbfounded, because why would Kimberly do this? She and Serena call each other and decide to dip out of the hotel, Irish goodbye style. But on their way downstairs, they see Kimberly sitting in the lobby. I'm not sure if it's the fumes from the Nespresso or the dehydration from the wine, but I feel my cheeks get hot. I march over and stand right in front of her. She looks up and I can see she forgot to put on one of her fake eyelashes. It's not a good look. Why would you post those pictures of me and Serena? I blurt. How would you feel if someone plastered photos of you like that all over social media? She puts her phone in her ridiculously expensive purse and looks up at me glassy-eyed. Emily, let's not make this about me. I would never have a photo of me posted like that, because I would never act that way. If you and Serena want to be at the top, you had better learn to control yourselves. So unladylike. She shakes her head like a disappointed parent. You are representing the company with that behavior. The fuck? These incentives and trips and biz ops always turn into drinking fests. And while she's sitting here clutching her pearls, plenty of the leaders at the top get their party on. I open my mouth to respond, but she continues. By the way, I talked to her first. Wait, what? Talk to who? About what? You mean about last night? I respond, completely confused. No, Madison Barker, the hairstylist. I talked to her first. My assistant had a phone call scheduled with her, and yesterday she canceled it because she said she was already speaking with another consultant. You. She cocks her head to the side and glares at me while she points her ridiculously long fingernail in my direction. She's pissed about Madison? I scoff. She picks her phone back up and looks away. When you work in a business where profit is based on recruiting and that is also more than 70% female, you have a breeding ground for turf wars, and jealousy is a weapon that you're taught to employ. Honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of the book because I love that Emily just walked straight up and said, "Hey bitch, you have a problem?" I love that. It's so satisfying as the reader, truly. Chapter 7, which is called The Party Never Ends and Neither Does Your Anxiety. So this book, I mean, she doesn't really give a lot of the day in and day out stuff because it's the same. So we've actually jumped forward a little bit. We are now at the next convention Emily has gone to. This time the convention is in Vegas. So she blacks out some more and she details waking up hungover and going through the shame cycle. She's still battling with substance abuse at this point in our story, and so she talks about that a lot. She also details a conversation that she has with Kimberly at one of the convention luncheons. At the luncheon, Kimberly asks Emily and Serena if they heard about Shelby Fraser, another person in their company. In Serena's downline, actually. She says she had to go to the hospital last night. Someone slipped something into her drink at the bar. She's fine. She left before anything happened, but wow, right? Her eyes get big and she puts her hands on her hips. Oh my God, Serena squeals. Poor thing. Serena grabs me by the arm. I'm so sorry. Can you cover for me? I need to go see her. She's on my team. Of course, let me know if I can do anything, I respond as Serena collects herself and leaves the banquet hall and I'm stuck here with Kimberly. I glance down and see those heels again. Studded. Expensive. While I'm gazing, I can't help but think that with the night I had, that same thing could have so easily happened to me. Thank God nothing happened to her, I say to Kimberly. Well, did you see what she was wearing last night? She scoffs and rolls her eyes. And she was all over the bar dancing with random strange men. I mean, what did she expect? My jaw drops and my eyes narrow. I almost can't believe these are actual words coming from her mouth, as though she's reading from a textbook on Misogyny 101. What the hell did you say? I demand. A little too loudly as a few women in earshot turn around. The VP of sales begins to walk in our direction. Shh, she hisses. Look, women can't have it both ways. You can't dress however you want and expect men to respect you. She looks me up and down and walks away. She discusses how these are not uncommon beliefs for MLM reps to hold, and that oftentimes internalized misogyny just comes with the territory. Someone in my comments on my last video also got mad at me for talking about misogyny, which is not even a word that I said in the video. So now that I'm saying it, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, chapter 8 is called It's Lonely and Ugly at the Top. So our girl Emily just earned her car. Woo! Her white car, big deal, MLM, magnum opus, okay? Here's a picture. This is actually from the Rodan & Fields catalog in 2015, I think. So here's the free car party. She says, as my husband reads the agreement for the vehicle, reams of paper I have to sign before being anointed with a mid-range luxury SUV, he asks me, So you have to pay for the insurance, title, registration, and the down payment? Yeah, I tell him, so deep into Rejuvenate's marketing that I'm slightly irritated by the question. But they're taking care of the payments. He flips through a few pages, and though a part of me wonders how many people don't actually read this lengthy contract, I try not to think about it. I wave my hand in his direction. They pay as long as you're working for them. He laughs. It's not really free, honey. It's just a company car. Actually, with a company car, you don't have to pay for the title and registration, and certainly not the down payment. Plus, you have to maintain the rank you have now. Isn't that hard to do? I don't know what to say, so I do what I usually do. I reach for my glass of wine that for some reason is frequently sitting on the table by my bedside and take a swig. So then, she keeps talking about how she compartmentalizes with Kale, but how Kale is starting to see, like, this is weird, but he doesn't want to, cause trouble in paradise. She also talks, again, let's revisit this graphic. This is from a car party, and you are encouraged to throw a car party and given a stipend for this party. The stipend that she received was $1,000, right, total, but she was supposed to invite 100 people. So that would be $10 a head, less once you factor in the venue, because you're probably spending $1,000, if not more, on the venue. So obviously, you're going to be spending a lot of your own money on this optional car party. In her case, Emily actually paid about $10,000 for this party, and she tried to keep it cheap with the venue, with catering, with whatever, plus the down payment, the title, the registration that she paid for the car. Emily throws this car party, leaves the car party in her brand new free car, and before long, there are blue lights behind her. She is subjected to a field test, which she unfortunately fails, and this chapter ends with Emily sitting in the back of a cop car watching her new car get towed. The next chapter is called Elbow, Elbow, Wrist, Wrist, and it begins 6 months after her DUI. She's now a few months into her sobriety journey, which I do want to throw in there, did not happen just because of the DUI. She, after her surgery, developed a painkiller habit, and then she, has dealt with more stress. She's still in the drinking culture from Rejuvenate. So it wasn't just like one DUI, cut and done and sober, and I think that that's important to mention. And like I said, she has a lot of powerful stuff to say about her sobriety in this book, and I wholeheartedly respect that, and it's definitely a really good part of the book, and at some point I will be checking out her other book. So she talks about how now that she's sober, she's having a harder time participating in Rejuvenate. The cold messaging, the high-pressure sales tactics, the long-winded biz ops while I was hammered. I can't bring myself to prospect strangers anymore. It makes me realize how much of this I have been doing drunk. Being inebriated with lower inhibitions helped me to do the things that I likely wouldn't have felt comfortable doing without it. Liquid courage, I suppose. Yet, Madison is growing, and so my downline is making me money. So basically, she's barely working at this point because she can't bring herself to, but she's still making the same amount of money because her downline is working. And that starts to make her feel a little bit uncomfortable because she starts to realize that they're lying to her, and it's not really about hard work, is it? Because she's not working and she's still making hella money, and the people below her are busting ass, and they're not. Also in this chapter, so the cognitive dissonance is starting to set in. And also in this chapter, Emily gets a call from another friend of hers who is in the MLM Advocare. This friend is devastated because Advocare just announced that they were ditching the MLM model. Emily says her $50,000 plus monthly paychecks aren't just being slashed, they're being decimated. She'll be lucky if she makes $500 a month because the money is always in the downline, not the sales. All I can think is, could this happen to Rejuvenate? But Rejuvenate is different, right? And then she says, Very shortly after the call from Andrea, Rejuvenate and probably every other panicked MLM goes on the defensive and sends out a damage control email. Rejuvenate is a leading brand thanks to you, our powerful community of consultants and top-notch business model. Unlike other companies that have been the target of FTC investigations, we have a robust customer base and a compensation plan that does not depend solely on distributors. We are proud that the majority of our sales are to customers. We have a transparent IDS. Advocare, on the other hand, is in a class action lawsuit and has been investigated by the FTC for 2 years. Please know that none of these things apply to us at Rejuvenate. Thanks again for your commitment to our brand. And did I just put a D on the end of it? Thanks again for your commitment to our brand. I'm still not 100% today, I'm sorry. But Emily talks about how this is another red flag to her because they've been, Rejuvenate has been investigated by the FTC. And also she knows that the money is in recruiting. So she knows that this email is a bold-faced lie, which makes her feel a little funny. But what do you do? How do you walk away from $40,000 a month, right? In the next chapter, which is called Pray to the Gurus and Goddesses, Emily is unfortunately re-diagnosed with cervical cancer. And this time it's still gonna be treatable, but it's gonna be treatable with a radical hysterectomy, which is a much more invasive surgery. And so she's gonna need more time to heal. She decides this time, instead of still working and still hustling, that she's gonna put Rejuvenate on the back burner so that she can actually spend her time healing, which we love. And she spends a lot of time writing, and she also finds her passion in sharing her story of substance abuse and sobriety and helping other people. So she begins to discover that she can help people without being predatory like she's being in Rejuvenate. Because of this, her involvement in Rejuvenate starts to feel worse and worse for her. But again, she's making $40,000 a month from it, or so she thinks. She's getting a $40,000 check. And how do you walk away from that? But nonetheless, she's just becoming more and more disillusioned with it. I stay at the top despite how little I work, and the people at the bottom fail to rank up despite how hard they work. It becomes harder for me to sell the dream that I know no longer exists. The Seattle Rejuvenate bubble is beginning to burst. People are quitting, and I just don't have it in me to convince them to stay. It has become clear that the growth plan for everyone had been so thrilled about the past few years, opening in Australia and Japan, was only carried out because we'd become saturated in the US and Canada. Rejuvenate, any MLM really, will assure you that that's not why. But none of us can make sense of it. Corporate has continued to raise the bar on titles and rewards, making it harder to keep people engaged. You have to do more hustling to make less money. It makes no sense. So then the next two chapters detail Emily's journey as she starts to distance herself further and further from Rejuvenate. She kind of just puts it on autopilot. She lets her downline work, but she stops actively doing anything. Then, March, who wants him? Somebody wants him. Hold on. Who is it? Hey, oh, multiple people. Hey. 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 Okay, all of them. Who's gonna come on the couch with me? Hello. 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 Oh, hey, big guy. Be nice. Hey. Okay. Okay, the kids are settled down, kind of. They got excited. In case you were curious, I have 6 dogs. They're all very well loved and very taken care of, but I do have lots of them. I can't say no to a stray animal. Look at this girl. This is Isabel. Okay. Okay. So Emily is distancing herself from Rejuvenate, which she begins to be very relieved about come March 2020. Because she was repulsed by all of the MLM reps claiming that their products could cure COVID or falling into QAnon beliefs. She says that she was, again, completely disgusted by this, but later, upon reflecting, she couldn't really be surprised. These are women who clearly, again, have a propensity to fall for things and have learned to suspend their critical thinking. So it's no surprise that they fell into these misinformation traps so easily. The FTC actually sent letters to 15 companies and counting, calling out the false claims that they were pushing. These companies were doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Tremont, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, Zervita, Isagenix, Juice Plus, Melaleuca, of course, Youngevity, and Plexus. So again, the MLM babe that I see on my Facebook most is my old math teacher, oddly enough. But she is in Melaleuca, and she still to this day has Melaleuca babes, and because I see hers, I see my algorithm shows me a lot of other wellness company reps. They are still in 2026 pushing, they're still writing on that COVID fear of this cleanser is bad, this isn't gonna kill viruses. If you see, a lot of times you'll see the hashtag Operation Freedom or the wellness company or the shop club. I don't know a lot about Melaleuca, but I am really fascinated with it because they're one of those that you're not supposed to say the name. You're clearly not supposed to say the name of what you're doing. But they still peddle that misinformation even after getting in trouble with the FTC. I assume the other ones do too, but I just don't see those as much. So she is, again, just absolutely repulsed by this misinformation campaign that MLM reps are partaking in and that MLM corporate just is allowing. A lot of the reps that she knew sort of they started reposting that documentary, The Plandemic, which is the one about, people eating babies and stuff. So, it was just a really big misinformation cesspool, and that she already wasn't thrilled about being associated with these people, and that didn't help. So now she's really not working. She is completely on autopilot. She has any correspondence from Rejuvenate sent directly to her spam folder. However, this year, she still gets inducted into the $1 Million Earners Club. She has done no work this year, and she still gets inducted because she's riding on the backs of her downline. And then she gets her profit and loss statement. And this is where it ends for her. Because that year she had made $370,000. Should I put another spreadsheet up here? I think I'm gonna. Let's do it. So this year she has made, or this particular year in the book, she's made $370,000 in earnings. That being said, $100,000 of that is free products, trips, promotional items, or car allotments, which are listed as income on her taxes. So she's having to basically pay that back. $15,000 she paid for trips out of pocket or overages where she wasn't given enough in a stipend. $10,000 she spent on products for herself and others, $10,000 on gifts and incentives, $5,000 on promo materials, biz ops, and just, business expenses like postage, mailing, etc. $22,000 on childcare because she's never at home because they're keeping her so busy. $8,000 on clothes and shoes for the year because she needed to go to all these biz ops and conventions and sell the dream to other people. And then $36,000 on the personal assistant that Becky recommended. So this means that from her $370,000 in revenue, she's only made an $85,000 profit, which is still nothing to turn your nose up at, for sure. $85,000 is great, but it's not $370,000, right? And she's living a $400,000 life on an $85,000 salary, and that's not great. This is where Emily finally takes her rose-colored glasses off, and she realizes that she cannot, in good conscience, be a part of Rejuvenate anymore. Not actively and not passively either. The checks aren't worth it to her. So the final 2 chapters detail her slow process of completely disentangling herself from Rejuvenate. Again, leaving the Facebook groups, asking not to be contacted, letting her downline know how she's feeling, and finally faxing in her termination form. As of this filming, Emily Lynn Paulson is fully out of Rejuvenate, and she's a licensed sobriety coach. She runs something, I think it's called the Sober Mom Squad, which is painfully millennial, but anyway, she helps other women overcome the same troubles that she faced. And she takes really great care to not only keep her business from being predatory, but to make it accessible to everyone that needs it through things like scholarships or sliding scale pricing, which I think is really cool. I think that's awesome. Rodan and Fields has since ditched their MLM model, and again, Hannah Alonso does a video on that for more information. That being said, that happens all the time. New MLMs pop up, they get in trouble, and then they ditch their MLM model, which is gonna fuck everyone over who's been busting ass to be on the top of the MLM, because then they lose their entire downline, just like Andrea from Advocare. That being said, like I said, new MLMs pop up every single day. You see a lot on TikTok now. And they're all just as predatory as this one. The book ends for Emily with her life taking a new shape that is not a pyramid, which we love. So, final thoughts. It is so hard to segue into a conclusion. I don't understand why it's so difficult. Obviously, I really like this book because it's the 3rd time I've listened to it. I think Emily Lynn Paulson did a great job of just laying all of her cards out on the table and showing us behind the curtain. Because I, probably like a lot of you, have always known that companies like Mary Kay or Cutco have a weird vibe, but I was never quite sure what it was until reading this book and then getting into anti-MLM content. So if you're interested in MLMs or in her sobriety journey, definitely check this book out, Hey Hun by Emily Lynn Paulson. It's free on Spotify Premium. And like I said, her other book is called Highlight Reel, and that one's more of like a general memoir, not so focused on MLMs. And I, again, plan to read that at some point in the abstract future. Okay, Casey, wrap this up. Final words. MLMs, maybe not the best idea. That's what I have to say. That's my final thoughts. So I hope that you have all enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. I am still not feeling 100% today, and this was such a good reason for me to get up and get ready and do something other than lay on the couch and feel like shit. So this was very good for me. I hope that you have enjoyed this journey with me. If you like my stuff, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for your free pink Cadillac. And no, this one is really free, for real. All you have to do is pay for the down payment, I swear. Also, leave a comment, say hi, tell me about your MLM experience, tell me about your cat's name, whatever, I don't care. Say hey to me. I'm bored, I'm lonely, I talk to dogs all day, okay? Anything else? Oh, also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the past few videos, I've had a different background. This is my bookshelf. Let me move the camera. This is my bookshelf. It's my pride and joy, and I would love to do a book tour. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm not going to do it if nobody wants to watch, but I would love to if you guys are interested in seeing what books I have, the good books, the bad books, the books that I have said I was going to read for 5 years and still haven't. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I've got some exciting things coming up. An interview with another YouTuber like I mentioned, more specifically going back to the book, the Columbine book, written by Sue Klebold. I will be interviewing another YouTuber who also has read this book and has some thoughts. I have some more super exciting anti-MLM video coming up, actually, which was an accident, but I actually ended up almost getting recruited into one last week. Not almost getting recruited, but I was a part of a Zoom call because life imitates art, and I recorded that Zoom call, so I will be posting that soon. And yeah, I've got a lot of book reviews and exciting stuff coming up, so if you're interested, subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go probably take a nap, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!